What is up, guys? So in this video today, it's going to be on how to optimize your micronutrients to get to 11.7% body fat faster than if you were to not do this at all. So there's a lot that goes into micronutrients and nutrition in general. If you watch my videos, you know how in-depth this stuff really is. And I'm going to go over a few things, like depending on what you know already, it's going to be very applicable to you. You can make certain changes, pretty basic things, but it's very important to know so you're not either like doing the wrong things or you can just add more of the good things to you. So let's dive into this. So number one, obviously, or first off, like what is a micronutrient? Basically just vitamins and minerals. Like I used to not care about this stuff at all. Like when I first started the gym, if you told me to focus on eating vitamins and my minerals, like I would just look at you like you're fucking weird. Like I just do not care about that. I would just care about protein, calories, and just like eating more if I wanted to gain muscle and then just eat less if I wanted to lose fat. And that was kind of all I thought about in just going to the gym. But there's so much depth and precision that you can have. And it doesn't really take more time and effort. It just takes precision and knowledge and applied things to do. And like once you understand this stuff, it's so easy to implement, which is kind of what I do for my students. But this stuff actually matters. Like at the fundamental, if you think about it, we are made from earthly elements. Like God designed us and used, all the elements that exist on earth, like in the universe. Like there's only a few things that at a fundamental level we are made of, and we can get those through our diet, through the micronutrients, especially the minerals here. And it's literally the raw materials for our existence. Like if we don't get these in, we're simply not going to operate at the highest level, even outside of the gym. Like the gym is one thing. Obviously you want to make better progress, lose body fat, build more muscle in the gym. But even outside of that, your cognition, like how sharp you feel, how much energy you have in the day, all going to affect, your focus, your work, your relationships. Everything stems from this because it's literally just like the raw existence of who we are as humans. So it's pretty important to get this right and like understand how this works. And a little analogy but it's like the first thing that came to mind was in Congress, you have the Senate and you have the House, right? And you kind of think of this like the vitamins and minerals in the body. So the Senate and the House, they have to come to agreements to pass certain laws and basically like work through the government in that way. Like they work together in the same way that vitamins and minerals in the body work together at a fundamental level to have those processes, have those functions in the body that are so important for us. And I also put this picture up here. This was me in April of 2024. This is by far when my diet was the absolute worst. Like I was still going to the gym consistently. I've never fallen off, going to the gym, being consistent. But at this time, my diet, dude, it was so bad. Like I would be eating, I remember I'd have like those Klondike bars, like those ice cream sandwich things for like lunch and dinner. Like every single day I would just like binge eat so much. And I was also trying to do like a half carnivore diet. It was a weird time in my gym fitness journey, but you live and you learn, and you can learn from mistakes. It's better to learn from other people, like not have to go through the mistakes, but that's kind of what this is for. But yeah, the importance of micros. So this is basically just upgrading your biology function. Like you can upgrade yourself as a character, kind of like a video game character. Here, like I don't play video games anymore. I used to as a kid, but kind of think of it this way. Like if you maximize all these stats here, like stats is in vitamins and minerals, you're just going to get more output from the body, more of these stats can be maxed out. And it's like, it's in real life. It's like a character that you are. You can just maximize this through your diet and through your nutrition. So cool things that you can do with this. Number one, your metabolism will run faster. So if you don't know, like all calories are not the same. You can have a low nutrient dense meal or food and a high nutrient dense food. They're going to be the same calories, but you're actually going to expend more energy digesting this one because there's more things to actually like digest in the body. And digestion takes energy. So if you have more to digest, same calories, but you're expending more energy. Calories are just energy at the end of the day. So you're expending more calories through that digestion just because it has more nutrients. So quick tip there, like that's a whole different topic on its own. I can make another video on that, but it's very important to understand. Then hormones improve, just giving yourself the raw materials you need. Muscles contract harder, so you have more growth signal from the gym. Recovery improves, and body partitions nutrients more towards muscle instead of fat. So like all of this stuff works together to make faster, more optimal progress when you're actually giving yourself what it needs. Like your body, like micronutrients exist for a reason. Like if you're neglecting these, like it's pretty stupid to try to get the best results without them. So how to actually get micros in and like when and how to like structure this in your day. Obviously, we want the nutrient dense foods. So think of red meat is really, really good. Eggs are good. And then organ meats, like I've tried those. I've tried the liver. It's like obviously it doesn't taste good. If you tried it, you know. But if you want to do it, it's fine. I wouldn't do it every single day because it's like it's very, very dense in nutrients, and then you could even like go overboard on that if you're doing a lot every single day. I know there's some organ supplements. I personally don't use those. I just do red meats, eggs, sweet potato, avocado, all those like whole foods, all those nutrient dense foods you want to have in your diet, and then structure them properly. So you can have the foods to select from, but then you can structure them with certain like macronutrient frameworks, which is something else I talk about on this channel, and then timing certain micros based on when you're going to train. So kind of engineering your diet correctly here. And how you want to think about this is different times for different nutrients. So it really just depends on when you train. So you can think of like the pre-workout window, post-workout window, and then outside of the workout window. It's like three kind of phases in the day of the diets. It's kind of how I think about it with the guys that I work with, like structuring it with pre-workout, post-workout, and then outside. So key things for pre-workout, definitely the sodium and potassium because they work in a balance. We'll get into the balances as well, but that's going to be the best for muscle contraction, especially before you go to the gym. And then post-workout, I would just do the majority of those nutrients. So like that's why I like to do a lot of red meat in the post-workout window. And then outside, you can kind of play around with it just based on what, number one, like when you go train, like if you're going in the morning, it's gonna be different than at nighttime. But you can time different nutrients. Like vitamin D should not be at nighttime. That's a big mistake. It's gonna keep you awake. And then magnesium, very, very good for that recovery and closer to bedtime. So there's so many nutrients to go into, but having those key players in place is good to know like when to time those as well. And then supplementing those key players as well. So big ones, like I said, vitamin D is very important. Like most people, like if you're getting sunlight, you're going to get some vitamin D. But even on top of that, you should be supplementing for most people. If you've gotten blood work done, then you could see like how much you actually need. But most people should be doing that. And then magnesium closer to bed, really good for recovery. And like a lot of foods aren't very magnesium rich. So I'd really recommend doing some magnesium glycinate closer to bedtime. And then, like I said, again, just engineering your diet correctly, making sure you have that structure in place, which I help you guys as well with, but it's very, very important to get that right. And then effects on fat loss and muscle growth from the micronutrients. So the actual like in-depth, like under the hood, what's happening to make this happen. Number one, you have the mitochondria fat oxidation. So if you're getting all your nutrients in, your powerhouse of the cell, the mitochondria, is going to function properly so you can actually utilize the fat that you have to like clear it from the system, right? So if you're in a calorie deficit, but you cannot oxidize fat and your mitochondria are not optimized properly for this, then it's going to be different nutrient partitioning, basically like where that deficit's coming from, because all a deficit is just weight loss. That does not guarantee, like a lot of people assume just because you're in a deficit, it's going to come from fats, which a lot of the times it will, but you can optimize it more for that nutrient partitioning to just make it way more towards fat. Because I see a lot of people like in my comments on my Instagram, YouTube, whatever, they'll talk about, oh, this doesn't really matter because if you're in a deficit, like you'll just lose fat, which is true. Like I'm never going to tell you guys that you will not be losing fat in a deficit, but all these things that I talk about is that nutrient partitioning to like, because all calorie deficits are not the same. Like you can really optimize key things to make the fat loss more efficient, such as this. Like you have to be able to use fats in your mitochondria to burn them off, or else they're just going to be restored. That's how it works, like biology in the body. So good to know. And if you're getting the micronutrients in, there's some more things you can do for the mitochondria specifically. Probably the most, I wouldn't say most important, but it's really up there to understand, like really optimize how to do this. Zone 2 cardio as well is really good for this. And then thyroid. So if you don't know, I'm hypothyroid, so my thyroid does not function as much as it should be. Like luckily I don't deal with as many symptoms as I used to, like when I was growing up. But a good thing you can do is a kelp supplement. So it has a lot of iodine. Iodine's going to be really good for the thyroid, so get that in. Insulin sensitivity, hormones, appetite. So like actually getting the nutrients in is going to help you with the appetite and make you more satiated. Training performance and recovery. So I'm not going to go too in depth in all these. I could if I wanted to, but this video would just be like way too long. But really all you need to know is the difference between having this profile of micronutrients versus this one is the effect that it has on this, and the fat loss and muscle growth would just be pretty much just slower. Like it's so easy to implement this stuff, but if you don't know what to do, you just can't implement. Like you have to have the knowledge first and be aware of like how this actually works. Not know like what to do, but like understand why and like what the key players are, so you can look into those a little bit more as well, and then just optimize that a little bit more or a lot more, just depending on what you do. So then anti-nutrients. So these are things that actually they deplete the micronutrients you have in the body. They block absorption. So even if you're getting, the foods that you need to, like the nutrient-rich foods, if you're having anti-nutrients in place, then it's going to block the absorption to an extent, and it depends on like how much you're doing it, how consistently you are over time. And this mostly comes from like vegetables, like grains, seeds, all those certain foods I would stay away from. Like I usually don't program them into like structures for diets because they're just not necessary. Like most of these foods, you just don't need them, and they have the anti-nutrients, so like there's no point in having them. And it is good to be aware of this, but like again, you don't have to be 100% perfect with this. Like if you have, let's say like tomato, like I wouldn't have tomato every single day because of that, or like spinach, stuff like that, like with the oxalates, all those certain things. You can have that, but like if you're doing that consistently and you're having those a lot every single day, then you have to be aware that this is a real thing. Like anti-nutrients are real, and it's just going to block absorption. Like you can have this coming into your diet, like all these certain micronutrients, but the absorption is what really matters at the end of the day, because you can't use them if you can't absorb them, right? So you just have to be aware of this, and you can structure your diet in a way where you're avoiding these and just know what foods to eat, like the vegetables, grains, seeds, like all those certain foods. Like I would just stick to like whole animal-based foods that our ancestors would eat. That's kind of how I look at it. And like again, you don't have to be 100% with this, but it's very good to know to not make that mistake, pretty much. And then mineral balance. So works in ratios and as a complete system. So if you don't know, pretty much every mineral has like a counterpart, like an opposite to it, and they always work in a balance with each other to have stability in the body. So for example, sodium and potassium, to have proper hydration in the body, you actually want these to be properly balanced, because if you're having too much sodium here and the potassium is just down, you're not going to be hydrated properly. And the whole point of sodium is to, have proper cell hydration for yourself. And if you don't get these right, you're going to have worse hormone production. Fatigue is going to be a lot higher. Like you're not going to have that energy, and like, hydration is really big part of having like cognition and energy in the first place. And then worse muscle contraction as well. So like there's a lot of things that you should be aware of. Like all the benefits you get from the minerals, the vitamins, the micronutrients, just be aware that there is this balance here. So especially when you're supplementing as well, another common one is zinc and copper. So a lot of people like to supplement zinc to get the testosterone benefits because it's a really good micronutrient for testosterone, but they just completely neglect the copper side of the aspect, and it works as a balance. So if you're just doing a ton of zinc, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot for the copper, and you're not going to get the same benefit that you think you will just from doing a lot more zinc. And you're just going to kind of mess up that balance. So that goes for all of these. Like this isn't even all of the nutrients and the minerals, but you just want to be aware of having that in place, especially when you're doing supplements. Be sure to not, mess it up for yourself, because it can affect the overall progress that you have. So that is it, guys. If you do want to work with me, I'll leave the call in the description. I'm pretty much giving you guys like everything that I talk about in these videos, very systemized, like in-depth, applicable things, like the step-by-steps. You just like pretty much execute on what I teach. And I do want to cover this as well. Like I saw some comments on another video saying like I look the same in all my pictures, but this is literally the same mirror 8 months apart. And if you think this looks the same, I don't know what to tell you, but I've made so much progress just implementing what I teach, like with my coaching as well. Like, yes, I do offer coaching. It's part of what I do. Like, if you think that's the next step for you, then you can go ahead and apply. I'm working with 5 guys right now, and we're making pretty good progress. So yeah, just want to put that out there. I want to be pretty transparent with what I do with my videos, with my coaching on the back end as well. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you guys in the next one.